Well, we're also going to fight in every stockbroker, financial planner, investment advisor's office that we can across America. As you know, Steve, we've started a training program at Liberty University to train patriotic investors, because people are sick of it. Everything you've talked about, people are sick of it. They're waking up to it. And it's not just the financial things. It's when you buy a product from an American company, they have to abide by all these regulations, environmental regulations, workplace regulations, and everything else. And they're competing against companies in China that don't abide by any of those. And we think, oh, we're being green. No, we're not. And it's people like Larry Fink at BlackRock, the largest investment manager in the world. Larry Fink is demanding all of these burdens on American companies. You've got to have, your board has to have this Constitution, you've got to have this, you've got to be environmentally sound, social justice, all these things he wants to put on American companies, and he ignores all that when he wants to put trillions of dollars into China. So people are waking up. They're sick of it because of War Room Pandemic and hopefully what we're doing on this show. But we're going to train financial advisors to help clients weaponize their money. They're going to be the small ships that make the difference. We believe what you said. Victory does beget victory. And Steve, we want you to be part of that training program at Liberty University. Will you do that with us?
100%. You know, I said the other day when I was talking to the guys at Liberty and Dave Bratt, to some of the students, what I love about this is, remember when President Reagan came in office, at the time it was that, oh, the Soviet Union's rising, they're the most powerful, we have to have rapprochement, we have to have détente, we have to have SALT, because they're so militarily powerful and their command economy is better than ours. We've got, 20% interest rates, and Jimmy Carter, the Arabs have shut down our economy. President Reagan came and had an analysis done and showed that their economy was smaller than California. And he goes, this is ridiculous. I know they got nuclear weapons and they're bad guys, but we can take this down. Buy his defense budgets and buy Star Wars, buy our technology and our capital. Guess what? Information war and economic war. President Reagan knew it, and he had very simple. All these smart guys and Kissinger run around and all this thing about the Thucydides trap and we're the declining power and they're the rising power. He said, hey, how about this? We win, they lose. And in 8 years, he took down the evil empire, and he called it an evil empire. Here's what I love about the Liberty. At the time, one of the people that had his back was Reverend Falwell. Yes. It was Reverend Falwell that had President Reagan's back in the end of the Cold War that was brought to an end by the defeat of the Soviet Union. We're in the exact same place today. I think Jerry Falwell, Dave Bratt, yourself, what folks are doing up at the Falkirk Center and focusing on China, I think is spectacular. It's going to be one of the key elements. Remember, every financial advisor, every broker, everybody you train are just like the folks at Normandy. You're the moral equivalent in this war of the frontline troops. And what we've got to do is be relentless in spreading this word and making sure that we take the fight to the enemy. And the enemy is the Chinese Communist Party. And remember, for Fink and these guys, all these phonies and hypocrites, it's the slave labor in China that bears the brunt of this. The people in China are the biggest victims. They have a name over there called Lao Beijing. It means old 100 names, because there's basically 100 last names in China. That stands for the little guy. The little guy in China is just like the deplorables. You've always been dismissed and insulted, but it's on your shoulders everything rests, just like in China. And it's the freedom of the Lao Beijing in the 21st century. Whoever assists in doing that is going to write the history of this century. And I got to tell you, I think we've backed the right play here. The little guy in China that's been abused by the Chinese Communist Party, and he's been abused by Wall Street and been abused by Larry Fink. And I think it's, Kevin, it's your bravery out there. You are calling people out by name, and I think that's what needs to be done now.
Well, Steve, I really appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the opportunity to be on War Room Pandemic and talk about all this stuff. You've lit this up in a huge way. And we're going to take everything that you've covered, everything you've talked about, because people who are watching are trying to quickly take notes, and good, take notes. But we've produced a battle plan. And the battle plan is, with every show, and this one included, we'll recap what we talked about, then give you action steps of what you need to be doing about it, and then links to articles so that you can see we didn't make this stuff up. It's well documented. Everything we've said is true. So get your free battle plan at economicwarroom.com. Thank you, Steve, so much for being with us.
Kevin, thanks, and thanks for everything you're doing. You're a true warrior. And as long as we got guys like you at the tip of the spear, we're going to win this thing.
Thank you. Well, remember, what we see as a marketplace, our enemies view as a battle space. This is Kevin Freeman from the Economic War Room.